This question comes from the Greater Washington Community Foundation. Successful education, they say, successful education reform efforts must include the input and perspective of parents, students, and the broader community. Yet some critics of the recent efforts to reform DCPS say that DCPS has not been inclusive of these perspectives. What specifically will you do to ensure that parents and students have input in the process of reforming DCPS?
Well, I would agree that it is transparent as it should be, and that there haven't been a number of public hearings and opportunities for public input. But on the council, we provide that opportunity with the issues that come before us. We always hold open hearings, and yet because of the school takeover, given really 99% of the responsibility to the chancellor, there are very few things that are being done where the council actually weighs in. So people need to understand that. So having not voted for the takeover did give that responsibility to the chancellor. So other than our saying, please do it, you should do it, we really have no control over whether or not she does do it. I want to use the rest of my time to talk about some things that are going around. Malcolm Peabody, who's in the audience right now, sent out a letter saying I was against school choice. He actually said I was against charter schools. I've never been against charter schools. Actually, I've been a supporter of charter schools. And even when there was legislation talking about doing a moratorium on charter schools, I did not sign on to that legislation. You will not find my name there. I had not supported vouchers, but my primary opponent passed out something that said I voted against vouchers. We never voted for or against vouchers. Actually, the United States Congress was going to do the voucher program. Several of my colleagues spoke in favor of it, and several of us, including Adrian Finty, wrote a letter saying we did not support it. So there was no vote. So there's been a lot of untruths being told.
The question is, what can be done to have more people in the process? I do think that we need to do everything we can to maximize community input in the reform process. That includes parents as well as students. I do think that there have been some issues concerning transparency and input. I think the chancellor has a regular meeting where they attempt to meet with parents on issues, and I've actually attended some of those, and they have not been very well attended. I think that the council should play a role in facilitating communication in a couple of ways. One, we have oversight hearings. When we have oversight hearings, people should come down and testify, we should be able to ask those questions. Two, when we deal with issues like closures, when we deal with issues like personnel matters, I do think it's appropriate for the council to ask questions. I do not think the council should be involved in the minute details of individual personnel decisions. I think that we got due process and other mechanisms to deal with that. But I think the job of the council is to ask the question. At least give me a reason or a rationale for you doing the thing that you did, for closing the school that you closed, for eliminating the vice principal's position that was eliminated. I think there's some more things that can be done. I think the idea of this new roundtable where the chairman's having people come down to the council and testify, getting young people involved. I think as an individual council member, I would go out and meet with individual PTAs to also solicit their input and involvement. I think we're going to do as much as we can, but ultimately, I do believe that the ultimate responsibility is the mayor with proper oversight of the council.
Well, I think to start, if we take a look around at the groups who hosted this event tonight, I think it's important to pay attention to input of education groups, education reform groups, parent associations, local community groups. I guess I'm kind of stating the obvious here, but that's what we will continue to do. When it comes to the mayor's takeover of the schools, I'm very much in support of it. For the first time in years, we do have accountability. Previously, as Dee was alluding to before, we were pointing the finger. The council, the school board, the superintendent, and the mayor were all pointing the finger at each other, placing the blame on one another. But finally, somebody is taking credit or discredit for what's going on in our schools. Is everyone always going to be happy? Absolutely not. But we need to take these measures now. We need to start moving in the right direction. You know, when you take a look at the 23 schools that were closed, the Washington Post, which recently endorsed me in this race, you know, they stated in an editorial that imagine if the council had decided which of those 23 schools were closed. None of those schools would close, or maybe one or two, and where would we be? So I think by placing the authority with the mayor, finally we have accountability, and we are moving forward. And we should continue to listen to groups such as yours, parents, children, teachers, etc. Thank you.
Well, we have accountability on paper, but not reality. Bree and her aides come to the council very reluctantly, and then basically she's chewing gum while they're questioning her. There's really contempt for the parents and the teachers now. Period. And let's look at how the takeover came about, which also shows a betrayal of our own self-determination. Our mayor, when he ran for mayor, he says, "I'm for DC statehood." It was very refreshing to hear those words. Instead of voting rights, was simply token vote in the House. So we welcome that. So once he became mayor, how did he change the school government structure? He went to Congress to change our home rule charter. Our neo-colonial masters did it for us. Instead of having a referendum and a full discussion about the merits of it, so people can debate and discuss it, it was rammed down our throats. Now let me be clear, I know a lot of parents have sent their kids to charter schools because of desperation. They have high hopes. I respect these parents. That my son, my youngest son, went to Ross, Deal, and Wilson, and got an excellent education and got a bachelor's in philosophy at Cornell. So there are good schools in DC. The schools that are bad are the ones that have the injuries of class affecting the students that are in the classroom. And again, you have to go to the root. It's very easy to say we should have better this and better that, but, oh, sorry.